This is All Indiana Sports.
All right, I have a list of players for you, and I want you to tell me what you think these players have in common.
All right.
Other than the obvious, same organization, things like that. Alec
All right.
Pierce, Daniel Jones, Justin Wally, Hunter Wohler, DeForest Buckner, Sauce Gardner, Mooney Ward.
They're all key pieces to the Colts.
That is correct, and they are all coming off of injury last season.
See, I got it, and then the Alec Pierce threw me off because that's recent.
Yes, it is recent because
ankle surgery.
Should be back for training camp. They said a 3-month recovery.
Yeah, that's not too hard to come back from.
But this goes to prove my point. When you pay them money, all of a sudden, I got a little boo-boo, and I can't play so well anymore.
Very much the NBA. Oh, now that we're talking about, did you see Wemby last night?
Yes.
Kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
It's upsetting, and then they lost the game.
Yeah.
So
Spurs might be dead in the water.
How much does Wemby mean to them? He's out for at least 48 hours.
Yep. Could that be the sealer for the MVP for him? He's already won Defensive Player of the Year. We shall see. But you know what? I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We are excited to present to you the All Indiana Sports Podcast.
Welcome back. This episode is our Colts pre-draft episode. West 56th may be viewing the opening round on Thursday, much like the rest of us with popcorn, wondering what will happen with zero impact or options. That means deeper cuts and a unique way for us to look at this draft as we go all in.
Yes, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at All Indiana Sports, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to start it off with the positions that the Colts need to fill.
Strictly by the draft.
Right. You don't have to. Well, this is in general. I mean, this is just the positions
but it's come to the draft now.
At this point, it is either that or, as we said, maybe deeper cuts in free agency. So you don't have to rank them. I have, but you don't have to. Shotgun. What are the positions that need filled right here?
The biggest one is linebacker. Defense wins championships. That's your biggest hole on defense.
Yep.
I think you need another safety. Love to trade up and get downs, but that's going to cost so much.
Yep.
And then flip the side of the ball, maybe a receiver. It never hurts to get a receiver in the draft. And then offensive lineman as well.
Yeah, I'm going to put linebacker number one. I'm going to put X receiver, a possession receiver, a pit replacement in there at number two. I put defensive line depth because you lost so much edge to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to fill that in some way. Offensive line depth as well. You don't know who your starting right tackle is. That means you definitely don't know who your right tackle backup is. And your right guard has to get better or be replaced as well.
Yes.
I put cornerback in there, but defensive back, you make a good point. That section, and that is what Lou Anarumo is very known for. His defense, he started as secondary coach. As he moved up, his defense has continued to center around the defensive backfield and that kind of multiple scheme. He loves the cornerbacks. That's why the Kenny Moore news of wanting a trade and them open to it is troubling. And I also put in their running back depth. I understand that the Colts have what we believe is the best running back and definitely top 5 running back in the league right now.
Yes.
But depth is needed, especially at a position that gets so much contact throughout the game as that. At this point, I believe you only have 2 running backs currently on the roster.
Yes. I'm assuming they'll get one either in the draft or in free agency.
Still a lot of good ones available in free agency as well.
Very true, very true.
So it doesn't mean it's a draft need per se, especially in a particularly perceived weak running back class.
Yeah, very much so.
I can think of a guy. But that leads us to the question that trade up or trade down. What do you think the Colts are most likely to do, having the 47th pick in the draft in the middle of the second round being their first pick in this year's draft?
Well, yes, it will take a bit to trade up. I think they are more likely to trade up. I think they should trade up to maybe late first, early second. I would feel a lot better being in that spot. You have a lot more options. Just at that point, you might be able to get Omar Cooper at that point if you wanted to. Talk about Jacob Rodriguez as well. A pick of any running back that you'd want as well, like you were talking about. A couple guys that are maybe not viewed as good, but still great and ready for the NFL. Trade up should be, but...
So what if they were going to trade up? In your experience with your classes in sports management, what do you think it would cost them to make that jump from 47 to 30-ish, or potentially, into that earlier second round?
It depends. If you trade right now, we're the day before the draft. It's a lot different. It'll take a lot less now than it will then, than it will whenever the pick has arrived. You have to trade your 47 pick. That's obvious. And then maybe one or two more picks later in the draft. So you're giving up more draft picks, but you're getting a higher quality player. I would say an offer that I would accept, per se, trying to be as unbiased as possible, is the 47, and maybe like a fourth rounder.
Would it work if they traded the 47th and a Kenny Moore?
I think that would be too much. I think that would be giving up too much for a 30th pick. Yes, it's first round, but it's almost second round if you think about it. So it can be thrown either way. If you want to get rid of Kenny so bad and throw him into a deal, go ahead. So
my perception would be that you might get more value trading him with a pick as opposed to just trading him for a pick. Mm-hmm. But that goes for both Anthony Richardson and Kenny Moore. I think if you intro the deal with hey, we're going to trade you this pick for that pick, and then you can sweeten the deal sort of, well, how about this? What if we throw in a player, and you can kind of use that to sweeten the deal in the negotiations. That would
very much so. Very much, yeah.
Trade down? Maybe not the second pick, but somewhere.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. Maybe sixth round at the earliest. Don't think you should trade down. You've already traded away your top picks. I think where you need to go up, not down. And I believe, especially not now, you trade down once you're in the draft. I think a good rule of thumb is you should never trade down unless you're trading your first round pick until the draft has already started. I think second rounds and later you should wait to trade down from that until either you're at that spot in the draft or it's getting close to that spot. Because you can get a lot more value from it then.
Yeah, I think the most likely scenario is that the Colts try to do what they did in 2020, I believe, when they drafted Pitt and JT in the second round. They're going to try to get their third round back into the second round in some way. They have 2 7th-round picks. Even though they don't have a first round, they still have 7 picks. They have 2 7th-rounders. And so I think that the most likely scenario is that they're going to try to bump themselves back in where they're not going to necessarily try to force the first round, but I think they're going to have opportunity to shake some things up and maybe get 2 second-rounders with a good deal there. So
I could definitely see that.
But obviously, we know Chris Ballard. He loves the picks.
Yeah, very
Especially
much.
those
So,
day threes. So before we go into some other things, since we mentioned that the Colts have no first round, it provides us, and we are now the All Indiana Sports Podcast. We get to merge a couple different of our worlds, and we are going to look at some specific Indiana University players for the Colts. There it is, ready to go. So, what are some players that you think the Colts should focus on for some of these picks?
okay. Realistically speaking, I don't know if any of the Indiana guys except Mendoza is going to be drafted extremely high.
Okay.
So realistically speaking, you trade up, anybody on Indiana could be on the board.
Yep.
D'Angelo Pond's someone I'm looking at a lot. If you're actually looking on getting rid of Kenny, I think what you said earlier, trading up with Kenny Moore and your pick is great because you're going to get a replacement for Kenny anyways. I think D'Angelo Pons will be a great slot corner in the league. I don't think he's quite tall enough to be guarding against the number one guys because you saw what happened against Jeremiah Smith. And
Akron passed on him coming out of high school because of the size. They took a look at the tape and everything, and then the coach said, no, he's too short. And look at what happened. Now, what numbers do you think you got to get at to be in the D'Angelo Pons market?
I think he's the third guy to get off the board for Indiana. I think number one's obviously Mendoza. He's getting drafted first. And then after that's Omar Cooper. I think Omar Cooper's first round. Pons is definitely...
Which that aside, is absolutely incredible because at the beginning of the season, he was maybe a third rounder. Mm-hmm. Now, he may be the third wide receiver taken off the board behind Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate.
I think Pons is an early second rounder, so you got to trade up a little bit. Obviously, there's stuff that comes with draft picks where if you're trying to jump into the first round, it just adds so much more element to it, even if it's a late first round. Still, it's a first round pick.
Yep.
Now, compared to
because you have the 5th year option, there's lots of things that come with it. Not only the price tag, but the benefit of the team at that fifth year.
Yes, which makes complete sense. But it's a lot easier to get an early second round. If you truly think you can get your guy in an early second round, you're willing to take that risk, I would always say go early second because of those extra options and stuff like that. It's just so much easier to get an early second round pick than a late first. I think that's where Pons is going to go. So I think somewhere around, what would that be? Anywhere from pick 33 to like 40, I think is where you need to get. So you don't have to bump up that much. But still.
You don't think he'll be there at 47? I would imagine he's probably going to be the 3rd to 5th cornerback taken. Mansour Delane, obviously head and shoulders, and then Jermon McCoy being number 2. And I think there are a few others in there, depending on how people measure the size versus the productivity, the college game versus the pro game.
Yeah. And then talking about some other guys, talk about the running backs real quick. Kalen Black and Roman Hemby. I personally think Hemby's better. You think Black is better.
Yep.
We can agree to disagree. I think Hemby fits the more modern day NFL, and I think that's why he will get drafted first. But that's not until later. I think both the IU running backs, sadly, are going to be 3rd rounds or later. I think Hemby's going to be 3rd round, Black 4th or 5th, kind of late 4th, early 5th.
You like Hemby because he catches out of the backfield.
I do.
Yeah. I, from a Colts perspective, think that Kalen Black is more the style that the Colts need, especially if Jonathan Taylor can continue his uptick in his pass catching ability. I think that Kalen Black is just a power kind of. You know how what Sonic looks like when in the video game when he really starts getting going. That's Kalen Black when he gets going. He's just a bowling ball out there. Not that he's a big guy. It's just the way he runs. It's just going ahead.
Mm-hmm. I think
very north-south.
I think I might have a little bit of PTSD about whenever I talk about Hemby catching the ball. About what's his name, Deion Jackson. I think the running back who dropped the ball on the 4th and 1 that Minshew maybe underthrew a little bit. You got both hands on the ball, go catch it. It's NFL. Even if you fall, get the first. Anyways, but those are the running backs. Next up, Aiden Fisher is the linebacker, the main linebacker coming out. I thought that Isaiah Jones was also going to be coming out, but I guess not. I saw him the other day on like an IU thing. I was like, okay, he's still there. Great. I loved him. He had a huge growth towards the end of the season.
And he'll be IU's next year's Aiden Fisher, which is great.
Mm-hmm. But Aiden Fisher is super, super smart. I think it's another one of those, look at Isaiah Jones and Aiden Fisher. Whenever I watch them play together, I'm like, another one of those Hemby and Black situations where I think Isaiah Jones may be better, right? He may fit teams better, but overall, I think Aiden Fisher has the more modern day linebacker. Isaiah Jones is more of a downfield guy. Aiden Fisher can cover. Great. So, and that's what you're looking for in linebackers nowadays with so much disguised coverages. And you want your linebackers to be able to do both things and be able to cover wide receivers if they need to.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he had 3 interceptions on the season.
Mm-hmm. And Aiden Fisher is a guy who can cover wide receivers.
Which is very important in a Lou Anarumo defense.
Yes. I think if Jacob Rodriguez isn't there and you want a linebacker really bad, Aiden Fisher's a guy to go get. I think he will be there. I don't think you'll have to trade up or down. I think he's under the radar a little bit, which is, once again, talking about IU players, it's kind of sad that that's the case. But it's good for the Colts.
Underrated their entire lives. That's what led them to Indiana and eventually led them to the national championship, and they're still under the radar. So I was going to ask you, you alluded to it, you would still take Jacob Rodriguez over Aiden if given the choice.
100%. There's a reason Rodriguez was in the Heisman conversation.
All right. Well, I'm not going to let you steal all the IU players, so I've got a couple for you. My first one is Mikhail Kamara. We saw him over 2 seasons just absolutely disrupt defenses, both from the inside and from the outside. He's very versatile. Once again, we talk about versatility. They just lost a very versatile defensive lineman in Tyquan Lewis. I think that Mikhail Kamara could fill that void very well.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He also was the one who had the blocked punt in the playoffs.
That is correct. You are correct.
Special teamer as well.
Special teamer as well. So whether that is Adetomiwa Adebawore kind of being thrust into that starter or first sub role, or if that's Mikhail Kamara doing that, I think it provides a lot of options. And I think Mikhail Kamara you could probably get in the 4th round starting at that level. And then you mentioned Omar Cooper, but I think the greatest, best replacement and actually upgrade, Colts fans are going to hate me, upgrade to Michael Pittman Jr. is Elijah Surratt. He was known, his nickname is Waffle House because he's always open. He caught the most touchdowns last year in all of college football. He delivered he delivered at the end of the game in Iowa, down, came up with the huge catch and the breakaway for a touchdown. He still has the longest game stretch of a reception in college football history. And I think it ended at 42 this year when he got hurt. So you got a guy who played a lot of games, has a lot of experience on multiple stages, and he is tough as well. So don't give me this, well, Michael Pittman Jr. played with a broken back. Yes, I mentioned he was injured, but Elijah Surratt has toughness, the same kind of build to him. And so I would say Elijah Surratt probably available in that 3rd or 4th round beginning as well. So those are our picks for IU players. Do you have anybody else?
No, I just want to highlight D'Angelo Pons is also a special teamer. So
yes.
If you're concerned about his height, put him on special teams.
Right. Anybody who you're going to get outside of the 1st round is a potential special teamer. You in the 1st round, you're looking for can start now guys, Anybody after that, you're saying, well, they could start. Obviously, teamers are more at the back end, but that's one of the things that Michael Pittman Jr. said when he came into the league. I expect to be a special teamer. That's what led to his toughness, and I think that the same could be true for any person being drafted. You have to come in with that kind of mentality that you're going to grind out and do the dirty work in order to earn your spot. That's what makes you a great player, is that mental toughness. All right, so with that out of the way, what are some other players that you're looking at some of those positions as we go along? You mentioned one already.
Jacob Rodriguez is what I mentioned. Trying to think. I haven't I've done a little bit of mock drafting here and there.
Do you have that ready? We can get to that in a second.
I have a mock draft.
Okay.
I already told you about it. I did some others after I told you about it, and I was like, okay, I really did like this one.
All right.
Some other people I'm looking at, offensive tackle from Northwestern, Caleb Tierman. I believe he's playing in the Big Ten is not an easy state, especially if you're in the trenches. It's extremely hard. And then one more, Colton Hood from Tennessee. I really like his speed off the ball. And once again, you look at the big conferences, Big Ten, SEC are at the top, and it's not easy to play in either. So if you can perform in those conferences, that says a lot to me.
I totally agree. I got one for you, linebacker Josiah Trotter. He comes from great stock from former Philadelphia Eagles great Jeremiah Trotter. There we go. And I have cornerback Malik Muhammad from Texas. Great cover skills, great speed. Offensive tackle Blake Miller from Clemson. And then as far as defensive tackle, you can't go wrong at any level with the defense from Texas Tech. And so Lee Hunter, I think, is great for them. And then another wide receiver would be Malachi Fields from Notre Dame. I think he would fit that kind of mold as well. And another hidden gem of running back, also from the Big Ten, is Nicholas Singleton.
Played against
Penn State. Yes, and he had a big game against IU. I remember looking at that going,
3 touchdowns.
That guy. So, and obviously Penn State known as linebacker U, but I mean, Saquon Barkley came from Penn State. It's not like their running backs are hurting either. Their running backs do have to go up against linebacker universities, so they're fairly well trained.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true.
All right. Then to end us off, you want to take us through your mock draft. How deep did you go?
Technically the 5th round.
Okay. I love it. We normally go only 3 rounds, I think, but obviously this is a different kind of year.
Yeah, different type of year, so I went a little bit deeper. I also did something unique at the end that I don't normally do for mock drafts.
All right.
I like to just play it out, so I did pick up Josiah Trotter as the first pick. 2nd round, I really like him. 3rd round, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo.
Okay.
I think he's once again under the radar. I feel like Indiana just likes those type of people.
Toledo secondary is really good over the past several years.
4th round, I got Austin Barber, offensive tackle out of Florida. Then went with a wide receiver. I tried to split up the position groups a ton so that there was no single one from the same position group. And they were all needs as well. Jordan Hudson, wide receiver out of SMU.
Okay.
And then, instead of doing the 6th round, I traded up into the 5th round, and I got Dante Corleone, I believe, or Corlin, defensive tackle from Cincinnati.
All right. I like it. Very well done. I'm glad you did one. I don't know if it was it was troubling to me that we didn't have a 1st round pick, and so I just didn't want to do it because of that, or if it just seemed like, man, I'm going to have to do a lot of film study.
Yeah.
I pride myself on, if I was going to do it, I really wanted to do it. I didn't feel like I could do it well, so I did. I'm glad you.
I'm a huge mock draft guy, so
Yeah. I'm glad you took a crack at it. Appreciate you doing that for
of course,
us. Well,
yeah.
that is all that we have for this week. We'll be back next week with our post-draft diagnosis, including a special guest, an update on the Indy Ignite volleyball team with the end of the season fastly approaching, and a preseason look at the Indiana Fever.
Yeah, well, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all Indiana sports.
This is All Indiana Sports.